Hey team, it's Mr. Munro here. Today we're going to be looking at AO4, which is factorizing linear equations. In the last lesson we looked at expanding single brackets. So we're going to start back there because today's video is the opposite of what we looked at in the last video. So just to recap expanding single brackets. When you are expanding single brackets, you are multiplying everything inside the bracket by everything directly outside the bracket. So in this case here, 3 times 4x, 3 times 4 is 12, so 3 times 4x is 12x. 3 times 2 is 6, so our expanded linear equation, or our expanded brackets here, is 12x plus 6. If we're looking at the example of this one here, 6 times 3 is 18, so this is going to be minus 18x, and minus 6 times minus 5, or 6 times 5 is 30, minus 6 times minus 5, two negatives make it positive, so this is going to be positive 30. So that is expanding. The skill we're looking at today is the opposite of that. If this is taking the cat out of the bag, factorizing is trying to put it back in. And in that sense, I personally find it as a harder skill. But if you know your basic facts, then hopefully you'll be able to find this reasonably easy to get your head around as well. What you'll notice is when you look at what has been expanded out, both 12 and 6 have a common factor, or have common factors. And in this case, the common factors of both of those, as well as being 6 or 2, one of those common factors, whoa, what happened there? One of the common factors of 12 and 6 is 3, which is, which makes a lot of sense because that's what we've expanded it by multiplying it by. You can do the same thing over here and notice that minus 6 is a factor of minus 18 and 30. So what we're essentially trying to do today is you're trying to put it back inside the brackets, and the way you do that is by identifying a common factor of both of those numbers in that linear equation. So let's have a look at our first question. We're dealing with 4x and 12. So when you get in the hang of this to begin with, sometimes it's a good habit to go through and write out some of the factors of those particular numbers. So let's do that for 4. 1, 2, and 4 are the factors of 4. And what are the factors of 12? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12. So ideally we want to use the highest common factor. That's not always the case, but we're going to use it in this case here. I'm going to factorize this linear equation, and the number I'm going to use is the highest common factor, which is 4. So that common factor goes here, outside the brackets, and then I need to divide this by 4 and this by 4. So 4 divided by 4 is 1x. I don't need to actually write the 1, I can simply write 1x. And now 12 divided by 4, that's 3. It's plus 12, so that is going to be a plus 3. Now, if you have factorized your linear equation correctly, you should be able to re-expand it and get back to where you were. So for example, I should be able to do this and end up back where I am. I'm not fundamentally changing the values, I'm just rewriting them in a new way. So 4 times x is 4x, 4 times 3 is 12. So yep, still got the same equation, so I've done this correctly. Or I've done it wrong twice in the same way, but most likely I've done it correctly. Let's have a look at our next example. What's our common factor here? Now, hopefully some of you might have already noticed that 6 is a factor of 12. So we're going to use that one. The highest factor of 6 is 6 itself, right? 1, 2, 3, and 6. And if the highest factor of this one is a factor of this one, well, that works perfectly. So let's stick the 6 out in front. 6 divided by 6 is simply 1, or x in this case. So 6x divided by 6 is going to leave me with just x. And 12 divided by 6 is going to leave me with positive 2. So there we go, expanded. And once again, expanded out. 6x plus 12, as was. Fantastic. Okay, moving on to the next one. Now, in both those cases, you might have noticed that the first number was what was put outside the brackets. It's not going to be the case in this one here because 8 is not a factor of 20. So we're going to have to be a little bit more, clever in this one here. So let's have a look at the factors of 8. 1, 2, 4, 8. Okay. Now you could go through and write out all the factors of 20 here, but I'm sure we know them. We're only really looking for the highest common factor. So let's start at this end here and work our way down. And once we find one, we'll just use that. So is 8 a factor of 20? No. Is 4 a factor of 20? Yes. 5. Okay, so we're going to use that one there. So 4 goes out the front. This 8 divided by 4 is 2, so that's going to be 2x. And 20 divided by 4 is 5, so plus 5. There we go. Nice and easy, actually, that one. Let's get a head around it. Ooh, next one. Got some negatives in here as well. Okay, let's keep an eye on these guys. Let's make sure we've identified those. It's going to make things a little different, but... oh, to put that back, that'll really throw the answers off. Okay, let's have a look. What are our factors of minus 6? What are our factors of 6? Let's say we've got 1, 2, 3, and 6. Okay. Now, is 6 a factor of 9? No, it's not. Is 3 a factor of 9? Yes. Okay, so we're going to use 3. Now, the negative signs. Because both are negative, I know that I could put negative 3 as the factor outside. And I'll recap that exactly why that is in a moment, but let's just do that to begin with. So let's put that outside there. Minus 6 divided by minus 3 is going to leave me with just 2, so that's 2x. And minus 9 divided by minus 3 is going to be just plus 3. So there we go. Now remember, when you're dividing by a negative, you're going to end. If you're dividing a negative by a negative, you can end up with a negative answer. So let's just double check to make sure I've done this right, because we've been dealing with the negative. Minus 3 times 2, that is minus 6x. Yes, that's correct. Minus 3 times plus 3 is minus 9. Is that correct? Yep, that's correct as well. So we've done that one correct. Now, the other way you could do this, the other way you could have written that one is instead of making that negative, we could have written 3 minus 2x minus 3. That would achieve the same thing. But we're mathematicians and we're lazy, and that requires writing one extra symbol. That's not how we do things around here. But if you wrote it that way, that worked fine as well. Okay, let's have a look at the next one. Ooh, just a Munro with the curly ones. Okay, so we're now dealing with an x squared. Now there's an x squared here. Remember, x squared means x times x. And we've got an x here as well. So actually this time round, we're not only just going to be able to put a value outside the brackets, but we're also going to be able to put an x value outside the brackets too. I'm just going to move this guy over a little bit. There's a little more space over here. Okay, so let's see here. All right, common factors. Now, 4 and 8. So 4 is a factor of 8, so that's good. So I'm just going to put 4 outside the brackets to begin with. So let's put 4. Now there's essentially x times x here, and there's an x there. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put 4x here. 4x here. And in order to get 4x squared, that's going to be x, and then this is going to be 2. Now let's just check that visually. Let's just go through and make sure we've done that correct. So 4x times x is going to be 4x squared. Yep, that's what we've got there. And 4 times 2 is going to be 8. 4x times 2 is going to be 8x. So there you go. So what we've actually done that time round is we've been able to put an unknown outside the brackets as well. Whether that makes that life easy or not, I'm not sure, up to you personally, but there you go, we're able to do that there as well. And last one before I set you off on your own. What about this one? 5x plus 6. Now, some of you may have already noticed that 5 and 6 have only one common factor, and it is 1 itself. They don't have a common factor. 5 only has 1 and 5, and 6 is 2, 3, 6. That one doesn't work, that one doesn't work, that one doesn't work. It's got to be 1. So there's actually no point in factorizing this one. If you factorized it, you'd just end up writing 1 5x plus 6, which is actually creating more work. So we're just going to leave this one as it is. It cannot be factorized. It can be factorized, but it's just not worthwhile doing. So we're just going to leave that one as it is. So now's an opportunity for you guys to go through and practice these skills that we've just done. So I've got questions down here for you. So 12x plus 8 and minus 6x plus 15. So let's just get these here on their own. There we go. Okay. So now's an opportunity for you to go through, maybe rewatch parts of the video, and try these questions on your own. So I'll give you a bit of opportunity now. So if you want to give this a go on your own, pause the video, give it a shot. Once you've got your answer, unpause this video, and I'll go through and we'll explain the answer. All right, so answer time. Let's do this thing. So start with the first one. What are our common factors? Actually, I'm going to look at the factors of 8 first, because it's the lowest number. I'm going to go 1, 2, 4, and 8. Is 8 a factor of 12? It is not. Is 4 a factor of 12? Yes, it is. So my 4 is going to go out in front. 12x divided by 4 is 3x. And 8 divided by 4 is 2. So there you go. There's your first answer for bracket 3x plus 2. And obviously we can check that. 12x and 8. Yeah, fantastic. Okay, next one. Okay, curly. All right, let's have a look at the 6x. What are our factors? 1, 2, 3, and 6. So is 6 a factor of 15? No. So 3 is. We're going to put 3 out front. Do I need to put a negative? No, I do not. I'm just going to put 3. What is 6x divided by 3? That is minus 2, so that's going to be minus 2x. And 15 divided by 3 is 5, that's plus 5. So there we go. And let's just make sure we got this one correct, because it was a little bit curly, this one. 3 times 2 is 6, 3 times minus 2 is minus 6, minus 6x, good. And 3 times 5 is 15. So that was correct as well. So there you go. Hopefully you got those two answers. If you didn't, if you made a mistake somewhere, you're not sure, maybe go back through, watch some parts of the video that are relevant to the question or the mistake that you made. Or if you're really stuck, feel free to ask myself, ask someone else in the student. As always, we're a learning community. So hopefully you were able to find that. If you weren't, go back through, give it another shot, ask some questions, ask some good questions. And if you were, well done, congratulations. So that was AO4 Factorising Linear Equations. Well done, team.